Cool. So let's just have a look at today's agenda. So lecture will be till 10 o'clock and you from 10 to 11, you will have your doubt session. Okay. So yeah, guys. So I think yesterday we started off with the concept of loops, right? And we discussed about for loop, while loop, and a do while loop in detail, right? So what will be the agenda for today's class? So if you guys can look at the PPT, right? This is the agenda of today's class. At least that is what I have written. So we'll try to cover up as many points from this agenda as we can today. And if something gets left over, maybe we can spend some time tomorrow to cover it up. Okay. So how will we start? Let me just give you a quick breakup of what I am thinking and why I have selected the agenda in this order. So first of all, we do a couple of basic questions on loop, which is a factorial of a number and printing the multiplication table of a number. So via these two problem solving, we'll get a basic recap of loops, and again we will be comfortable with loops. Okay. Then we will go and study about the break and continue keyword. These are two keywords which we want to understand. And these two keywords are basically associated with loops only. Okay. So we learn about the break and continue keyword via an example. Okay. After that, we will solve a question on prime number. Okay. Given a number, determine if it is prime or not. And here also we will learn a couple of new concepts. Okay. Now, after we are done with prime numbers, then we will introduce nesting of loops. Ki boss, you can put one loop inside another loop. Okay. You can nest your loops as we had nested our conditional statements together. That is how you can also nest your loops. And once we have understood how nesting of loops actually work, we will go on to pattern printing and we will try to print these three different patterns. Okay. And I am pretty much sure that our time will be finished here itself. But yeah, if we get some more time remaining, then we will have a look at Armstrong numbers question from the assignment. Okay. So this is the entire agenda of today's class. So shall we start, guys? I think we have waited also for a couple of minutes. Okay, so arrays, don't worry. Arrays, we will start tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll start with arrays. So don't worry if there is any question on arrays, you can, ignore it for the time being. And tomorrow, anyhow, we are starting with arrays. Okay, cool. Okay, big light. If somebody has doubts, please ping me on Discord. I can maybe take with you up offline because I feel that it has already been discussed in the doubt session once. So I won't repeat it once again. But yeah. On a weekend, maybe if we are doing some problem solving only, I can, take some time out of it to talk for that. Okay, cool. So let's get started, guys. Let's get started, right? So the agenda is pretty clear and we'll not try to deviate much from the agenda so that, all of us are on track and we are learning things the right way. Okay. So let's get started with our first question, which is the factorial of a number, right? This is a question from the portal. Factorial of a number. Okay, so you can open up the portal if you want, right? Okay, so what is the question stating? What is the question stating? Okay, what is the question stating? That boss, you are given a number n. Okay, you are being given an integer n and I want to compute n factorial. Okay, I have been given a number n and I want to compute n factorial and give the answer back to you. That is the question that I am trying to solve. Okay. And what is n factorial? It is also given the definition of n factorial, which is nothing but n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into n minus 3 into n minus 4 up till 1. This is the basic definition of n factorial. Okay. So if I ask you, hey, Aditya, can you tell me what is 5 factorial? Can you guys tell me what is 5 factorial? 5 factorial is nothing but 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, which is nothing but 120. Okay. So I think everyone is clear with the mathematical concept of factorial. What is the factorial of a number? Okay. So in order for me to find the factorial of a number, what I have to do? I have to multiply numbers from n all the way till 1. See, I first of all take n, then I multiply n minus 1, then I multiply n minus 2, then I multiply n minus 3, then I multiply n minus 4 till I reach the number 1. So if somebody asks me to compute, boss, can you please find 7 factorial for me? So what I will tell, okay, no problem. Have a product variable or have an answer variable initialized with 1. Okay. And now what I will do, what is 7 factorial? I will iterate from 7 till 1. Okay. So first of all, I come to 7. I will multiply this 7 in my product. So product becomes 1 into 7, which is 7. So my product will now become 7. Then I will go to 6. Okay. I will multiply this 6 in my product. So my product becomes 7 into 6. Okay. Then I go to the number 5 and I multiply 5 in my product. So now my product will be 7 into 6 into 5. Okay. Then I will go to 4 and I multiply 4 in my product. So my product will now be 7 into 6 into 5 into 4. Then I go to the number 3. Okay. And I multiply 3 in my product. So my product will now be 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3. Then I go to the number 2. I multiply this number 2 in my product. Okay, so my product will now look like this. Then I come to number 1 and I will multiply this 1 in my product. So once I have, see what is the meaning of iterating? Iterating means you are just moving over, right? You are just iterating. Iterating means you are just moving over those numbers. So if I want to find 7 factorial, first of all, I will multiply 7. Then I will multiply 6. Then I will multiply 5. Then I will multiply 4. Then I will multiply 3. Then I will multiply 2. Then I will multiply 1. That is what I need to do if I want to find the factorial of 7. Okay, you can do in reverse fashion also, right? If I want to find the factorial of 7, you can start from 1 and go till 7 also, right? Ki boss, what is 7 factorial? 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into 7. You can go in whatever fashion that you want. Okay, but I think the idea is clear to everyone. What do I need to do? Okay. How many of you are clear with the idea? What do we need to do? If I want to find 9 factorial, so first of all, I will go to 9, multiply 9. Then I will go to 8, multiply 8. Then I will go to 7, multiply 7. Then I will go to 6, multiply 6. Likewise, I will keep on multiplying the numbers till I reach the number 1. And once I have multiplied all these numbers from 9 till 1, I know that I have access to 9 factorial. As simple as that. So what do we do? So if I want to write a basic code, right? So first of all, I need to have an answer variable, right? And can you all tell me with what value should I initialize my answer variable with? What value should I initialize my answer with? 1. Do you all agree? So let's say I'm doing long answer is equal to 1, right? Why not 0? Because I will be multiplying elements in this answer. So if I initialize answer with 0, then your answer will always remain 0. Okay. So that is why I have initialized my answer with 1. Now let's say that my task is to find n factorial. I am assuming that you already have access to 1. Okay. Now, what do? I have to find n factorial, right? So I have to iterate, or I have to move all the way from n till 1 and multiply all the numbers together so that I get the answer to n factorial. So let us basically use a loop. For, I will write for int I is equal to n. I will start from n. Okay, I will start from n and I will go all the way up till 0. Okay, and then I do a I minus minus. So I will start with n and it will go all the way till 0. Now, what do I do inside this for loop? I will do simply answer is equals to answer into I. Okay, as simple as that. This is the code. Okay, this is the code. Now, one thing is, yeah, edge cases we will have to take into account. You are correct when you tell me that, right? You are correct, right? So definitely, see, first of all, tell me guys, I am doing one thing wrongly. Can anybody identify a mistake? When I print answer outside the for loop, I will see that answer is always 0. Do you all agree? I have done I greater than equal to 0. That is wrong. That is wrong. I should do I greater than 0. So I will start from n and I will go all the way till 1. I should not become 0. Otherwise, my entire answer will become 0. Do you all agree with this? Okay, cool. Now, so, and outside this for loop here, I will print this is my answer, SOP answer. Okay. Now let us try to analyze with an example with how this is actually working. Okay. So let's say the value of n is 5. That is, I want to find 5 factorial. So the value of n is nothing but 5. Okay. So I have first of all initialized my answer with 1. Okay. Now the value of n is 5. Okay. 5 is greater than 0. Okay. So I has been initialized with n. That is, the value of I is 5. Okay. So the value of I is 5 and 5 is greater than 0. So I enter inside the loop, and what will I do? Answer is equals to answer into I. So what is the value of answer? 1. So 1 into I. What is the value of I? 5. Right? Correct. We can use this. Why are we using the reverse loop? You can use any one that you want, right? I am just telling you, you can use the forward loop also. That is also fine. Okay. So what are you doing? Answer is equals to answer into I. So answer was 1. You multiply it with 5. Okay. So 1 into 5 will be 5. My answer will become 5. And this value will be assigned to my answer variable. So now my answer will be containing the value 5. Okay. Next, what will happen? I will do a I minus minus. Okay, so see, I have multiplied 5 to my answer. Now I do a I minus minus and the value of I will become 4. Now the value of I will become 4. Okay, 4 is greater than 0. So I enter inside the loop and what will I do? Now I will multiply 4 to my answer. See guys, I have already multiplied 5. Now I will multiply 4 to my answer. Okay, so I will do answer is equals to answer into I. So what is answer? Answer is 5. 5 into 4 will be 20 and 20 will be the new value that is assigned to answer. So now after I have multiplied 4, the value of answer will become 20. Okay, so 5 into 4 is stored in my answer. Then what will happen? From here, again, you go to I minus minus. So I have multiplied 5 and 4, right? Now the value of I will become 3 and 3 is also greater than 0. So again, I will enter the loop and I will multiply 3 to my answer. So answer was already 20 and you multiply 3 to your answer. So now my answer will become 60, which is nothing but 5 into 4 into 3. Okay. See, I'll try to explain it once again, right? Just give me 1 second. Yeah. So what is happening is, see, the original value of n is 5. Okay. So I first of all started with the value of n, which was 5. Okay. And answer ki value is 1. The value of answer is 1. So what am I doing? The first time you entered into the loop, I multiplied 5 to my answer. Okay. The value of answer was 1. Okay. Let's try to follow like this. Wait. So see, I will draw a table to make you guys understand, right? I'll draw a table. So that will maybe make more sense, right? So the initial value of I will be 5. I starts with the value 5. Okay. 5 is greater than 0. So you will enter. Okay. And what will happen? Answer is equals to answer into I. So what will be the value of answer become? Answer was initially 1. And when I do answer is equals to answer into I, the value of answer will become 5. Okay. Next, what will happen? We do a I minus minus. Okay. So the value of I will now become 4. Okay. 4 is greater than 0. So I again enter inside the loop. And what do? I do answer is equals to answer into I. That is, I am multiplying 4 to my answer. So what is the value of answer already? 5. And I multiply 4 to my answer. So what will be the new value of answer? 5 into 4, which is 20. Okay. Then what will happen? Again, I will go and do a I minus minus. And the value of I will become 3. Okay. Now 3 is greater than 0. So again, we will enter inside the loop. And I will multiply the value of I, which is nothing but 3 to my answer. So answer was already 20. And you multiply 3 with your answer. So what will happen? Answer will become equal to 60. Okay. Now, then what will happen? Again, you do an I minus minus and the value of I will become 2. Okay. 2 is greater than 0. So you enter inside the loop and you will multiply 2 to your answer. So answer was 60. You multiply 2. The answer will now become 120. Then what will happen? Again, you do I minus minus and the value of I will become 1. Okay. 1 is greater than 0. Yes. So I will enter inside the loop and I will multiply 1 to my answer. Okay. So when I multiply 1 to my answer, what will happen? I is equal to 1. Answer was 120. You multiply 1 to it. So answer will still remain 120. And then the value of I will decrement. I will reach 0. 0 greater than 0 will be false. So I just come outside the for loop. And when I come outside the for loop and I print the value of answer, it will be 120, which is the factorial of 5. Okay. So basically, every time the for loop is running, you are multiplying a number to answer. The first time my for loop is running, I multiplied n. The second time the for loop runs, I multiply n minus 1. The third time the for loop runs, I multiply n minus 2. Likewise, I will keep on multiplying elements till I reach 1. Okay. Correct. You can also write I greater than 1. That is also fine. Okay. Now, why have I taken the data type as long? Because if the value of n is very large, okay, let's say n is 30, 40, 50, right? Then the factorial of n will be a very, very large number and it might overflow and not fit inside an integer variable. Okay, so that is why I have written the answer variable as long. Okay. How many of you are clear with what is happening with this code? Okay, you can do it from the front also for int I is equal to 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus, product is equals to product into I. That is also you can do. Okay, so let's try to run this up. Let's go to this. Where's the portal? Yep, start solving. So let's have a look, right? We have questions here. Yeah, I will be implementing. So let me just finish this up. Okay. So factorial with loop, right? So what is this question? This is the same question, right? Given the factorial of a number, you just have to print n factorial as output, right? अरे क्या हो गया भाई? बताता हूँ. I'll explain once again, right? While writing the code, I will try to explain once again. Okay. So first of all, let us try to first, see what the question is telling. You will get an input n and you will basically print n factorial as output. Okay. Cool. So let's see. So what are we doing? So first of all, make a scanner. Scanner sc is equals to new scanner. Okay. System.in. I'll explain in Hindi at the end. Just let me finish it once, then we can. Okay. So I have made a scanner, right? Now what will we do? Let us take input n. Okay. So int n is equal to sc dot next int. I have taken the number n as input from the user. Okay. Now what will we do? I basically have to calculate the factorial of n. So first of all, I will make an answer variable and initialize it with 1. Okay. Then what am I doing? I know that. What do I need to do? See, I will have to multiply n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into n minus 3 till all the way till 1. Okay. So let me start from n. So I will start for int I is equal to n. I will start at n. Okay. And I will go all the way till 1. I greater than 0 means I will go all the way till 1. Okay. And I do I minus minus. So now when I am standing at a value of I, what do I want to do? I want to basically multiply the value of I to my answer. Okay. So first of all, the value of I will be n. And what will I do? I will do answer into is equal to I. That is, I will keep on multiplying the value of I to my answer. So first of all, n will be multiplied, then n minus 1 will be multiplied, then n minus 2 will be multiplied, ... till 1 is multiplied. And then when this for loop is terminated, when this for loop finishes, I know that I have multiplied all the numbers from n till 1 to my answer. And so my answer variable is now containing the factorial. So what will I do? System.out.println answer. Okay. Yes, you can. You can also write I greater than equal to 1 in place of I greater than 0. You can also come till 2 itself, right? Because when you multiply with 1, it will remain same only. Okay. Now let's try to first run it and see whether it's working fine. And then we'll see. Okay. Let's try to submit it. So did all the tests? Yes, it's passed, right? Why have I taken a long here? Okay, the reason why I have taken a long, let me try to take an int, okay? Let me try to take it int, okay? Let's try to submit for int and see what happens. Okay. Now what happens? See, 2 out of 8 test cases, 2 test cases, the last 2 test cases have failed. Now, actually, what has happened in these 2 test cases is the value of n is very large, right? So when my value of n is very large, do you agree n factorial will be very, very large? So what is happening is n factorial is unable to fit inside an integer variable. It needs more than 4 bytes. Okay. So that is why when I initialize my answer variable as long, I know that even when the value of n will be very big, n factorial will fit inside the long answer variable and I will get my answer properly. Okay. So if you now submit it, see, you can try to do it with I++. It is no rocket science, right? It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple, right? So tell the usage of constraints. See, constraints is nothing. It is just telling you what sort of inputs you can expect. Okay. So for this question, I can expect n anywhere between 1 se lekar, I think there was 20 or 50, if I am not wrong. 20. From 0 till 20. Okay. हाँ भाई, अब एक बार अपने लोग डाउट्स ले लेते हैं. Explain line number 13. What is line number 13? See, line number 13 is nothing. What is factorial? 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? Okay, guys, just type in a message once and we can stop after that. I think I'll have a look. Okay, so let me just try to address the questions, answers one by one, right? So why I am doing answer into is equals to I. This is a shorthand of answer is equals to answer into I. Okay. So first of all, the value of I, let's say n ki value is 5. I am finding 5 factorial. So first of all, the value of I will be 5 and I multiply 5 to my answer. Then the value of I will become 4 and I will multiply 4 to my answer. Then the value of I will become 3 and I will multiply 3 to my answer. Then the value of I will be 2. I will multiply 2 to my answer. Then the value of I will be 1 and I will multiply 1 with my answer. Okay. So if I multiply 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, is it not 5 factorial? So answer will now contain 5 factorial after this loop has run for 5 times. Okay. And so outside the loop, I will print answer. Okay. What will happen for 0? If the value of n is 0, what will happen? Can you tell me? If the value of n is 0, what will be your output answer? What will be your output answer? Will it be 1? It will be 1. See? If the value of n is 0, do you think this for loop will run? It will not run. So what is the default value that you have initialized answer with 1? So 1 will be printed. And that is correct, right? 0 factorial is equal to 1. That is correct. That is correct. Okay. Cool. See, you can try to do it with while loop. You can try to do it via I++. It is up to you, right? You can do it via any method. Okay. Okay. Explain the use of constraints. See, here the constraints is between 0 and 20, right? So here it's not, that important to see the constraints because 20, but yeah, you can understand it like this, right? So when n becomes 20 or let's say 18, 19, right? 18 or 19 factorial, it will start becoming very large, right? And it will not be able to fit inside an integer data type. Okay. But I will presently, tell you to focus more on the logic rather than constraint side. Because if you are clear with the logic now, these constraints we will see in more detail when we actually try to, learn about time and space complexity. Okay. So till then, it won't be much making sense to you all. Is the logic clear to everyone? While loop में समझाओ कैसे करेंगे. I will expect you guys to try it on your own. Okay. तो एक बार फट से हिंदी में बता देता हूँ. I think somebody had requested. So I have done nothing. मैं कुछ नहीं किया हूँ. I have initialized answer. I have made an answer equal to 1. Okay. और फिर मैं क्या किया हूँ? देखो what have I actually done? मैंने कुछ नहीं किया है. मेरे को कंप्यूट करना था मान लो 5 फैक्टोरियल. n की वैल्यू है 5 मान लो. I had to compute 5 फैक्टोरियल. तो मैंने क्या किया? I ran a loop. for I is equal to n, I greater than 0, I minus minus. तो सबसे पहले I की वैल्यू 5 हुई और मैंने 5 को मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया आंसर में, तो अब आंसर हो गया 5. ठीक है. फिर I का वैल्यू 4 हुआ और मैं क्या किया, I multiplied 4 to my answer, तो अब मेरा आंसर हो गया 20. Then the value of I became 3 and I multiplied 3 to my answer, तो अब मेरा आंसर हो गया 60. फिर I का वैल्यू 2 हुआ and I multiplied 2 also to my answer, so my answer will become 120. Then the value of I became 1 and I multiplied 1 to my answer and it became 120. And when the value of I became 0, I did not enter inside the for loop and I know that my answer is 120, which is stored in my answer variable. So I just print answer outside the for loop. Is it clear to everyone? I think I have spent decent amount of time. Is it clear for everyone? So if you want to do it in the forward way, for int I is equals to 1, I less than n, try to do that, okay? And if you want to use a while loop, try to do that, right? Now you can do little bit experimenting here and there, okay? Cool. What is test case? Test case is an input for which the output, right? So I have given you a test case, that is for n is equals to 5, my output should be 120. This is a test case. Okay, cool. So let's move ahead, right? So we have done the factorial of a number. Now let's move to the multiplication table of a number. Answer into is equals to 1, not understand. What part did you not understand here? Okay. Answer को 1 से multiply करोगे तो answer will remain same. Okay. That's it. Cool. So the next question that I will take is to print the multiplication table of a number. Okay, the multiplication table of a number. Okay, so let's move to that. So what is the question? Okay, so I hope everyone is clear with the code, right? The code is pretty simple. So Shiban, we have just done the factorial of a number, right? We have written this code on the AccuJob portal and we solved this question. Okay, so is the logic clear to everyone so that I can move further? Yes. Okay, cool. Now, let's move to the second question. So now what I want to do is basically I want to print the multiplication table of a number. Okay. And guys, if you had a look at the article that I shared with you yesterday, the website which had the basic questions, did anyone by any chance get the time to go through those questions or maybe try to solve some questions on your own from there? Okay. So you would have seen that, there was one question there which was relating to print the multiplication table of a number. So I have taken up the question from there only. Okay. So what is this question stating? The question will tell you, let's say, see, in our childhood, we have tried to write the multiplication table of numbers, right? Let's say I give you, hey Adarsh, can you please print the multiplication table of 7 for me? So I have to write something like this. 7 into 1 is equal to 7. 7 2s are 14. 7 3s are 21. Till where? I will write till 7 12s are. Okay. So this number, okay, for which I need to find the table, this number will be given input by the user. And I will have to print the multiplication table like this. 7 1s are 7, 7 2s are 14, 7 3s are 21, 7 4s are 28. Likewise, till 7 12s are. Okay. Or any number till 12s are. Okay. So is the question making sense to everyone? I have been given a number n as input and I want to print the multiplication table of that number. Okay. So if the number is 13, so what do I need to print? I need to print something like this. 13 1s are 13, 13 2s are 26, likewise till 13 12s are. That is what I need to do. Okay. Let's do till 12, right? Let's do till 12. Okay. So can anybody give me an idea? Can anybody give me an idea what I will iterate over? What is the value? What should be the value in my loop that I should be iterating over? What should be the value of the looping variable over which I should iterate? N into I is okay. So I am assuming I is my loop variable, right? So from where should I start and till where should I go? From where till where? From 1 till 12. Do you all agree? Look here. First of all, the value of I is 1. Then the value of I will be 2. then the value of I will be 3, then the value of I will be 4, then the value of I will be 5, till the value of I will be 12. So I will iterate I all the way from 1 till 12. Okay. And what will I do? Pretty simple. I can write a statement like this. For int I is equal to 1, I less than equal to 12, I plus plus. Okay. So I will start. Okay. Not n minus 1. Not n minus 1. Okay. See, what is I? I is this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I want to print the multiplication table till 12. Okay. So I will always go from 1 till 12. Okay. By 12, like I have taken this as my question. Okay. If you want to print till 10, then you will have to move I till 10 only. But I am taking till 12. Okay. So now what will happen? Let's say I have been given the input n. I have the input n already available to me. So when I am inside this for loop, do you know what I will print? I will print SOP. What will I print? I will print something like this. I will print something like this. The product. Okay, the product n. Okay. Or let's say I don't want to print fancy words like at this point of time. Can I just print SOP n into I? Can I just print SOP n into I? Do you agree this will print to me? Let's say the value of n is 7. Then do you agree it will print 7, then 14, then 21, then 28, then 35, likewise till 84? Do you all agree? It will print the table of 7, 14, 21, 28, 35 till 84. Do you all agree? See, if the value of n is 7, what is happening? I starts from 1. So the first time the value of I will be 1. So 7 into 1, 7 will be printed. Then the value of I will become 2. So 7 into 2, 14 will be printed. Then the value of I will become 3. 7 into 3, 21 will be printed. So likewise, the table of 7 will be printed. But what if I want to print it in a better way? I want to print it like this. 7 into 1 is 7. 7 into 2 is equal to 14. 7 into 3 is equals to 21. What if we want to print, the table like this? Okay. So let us move to the online GDB and try to see how it will be printed. Okay. I will just take the help of normal system.out.println only, and we'll try to see how we can print the multiplication table in a better manner. Right. So let's see. So first of all, we'll have the scanner because we are taking an input from the user. So import java.util.star. Okay. Let's make a scanner. Scanner sc is equals to new scanner system.in. Okay. And let's take the number and input from the user. Okay. Now what I want to basically, print is, let's see. I want to say, okay, for till 12, I will print, right? 1s are, 2s are, 3s are, 4s are, 5s are till 12. So let's start. For int I is equal to 1, I less than equal to 12, I plus plus. I will iterate my for loop. I will iterate from 1 till 12. Now what do I want to print? I want to print n into i's value. N into I मेरे को print करना है. But also I want to print it like 7 into 1 or n into 1 is equals to then n into I. Okay. So can I print something like this? Try to see. N. Okay. Space into. Okay. So see, this n will be converted into string. Try to follow, guys. Okay. This n will be converted into string and these two strings will be concatenated. So I have 7 into. Okay. Now let's take it like this plus. Okay. Now after this, I want to. Chalo, let's take a cross. That is also fine if you want to do it like this. Okay. Okay. So 7 into or cross whatever, right? Then what is the factor? 7 Isa. So I will add I also. Okay. I, right? Is equal to what? Is equal to what? Now within brackets, I will write n into I. Acha, if I don't write within brackets, then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I will write n into I. Then what will happen? I'll prefer writing within brackets, right? This time, because there is a multiplication, this will be done before only. But still, it is safer to always write brackets, right? So this n into I will be evaluated first. So what will happen? When the value of I is 1, this n into I gets evaluated with 7. And what will be printed? 7 into 1 is equal to 7. Then when the value of I is 2, n into I will be 14. So it will print me 7x2 is equal to 14. Okay. So if I try to run this code and see what is getting printed, okay, so I'll give the input of ns7. Now let's see the table. Okay, so have a look at the table, guys. 7 ones are 7, 7 twos are 14, 7 fours are 28, and till 7 12s are 84. Okay, so is this making sense? What is line number 16 actually doing? The trick part is this, right? How to print it in a beautiful format, right? So if you try to understand what is happening, system.out.println, okay? See, first of all, this n into I will get evaluated. And do you agree this n into I will give you this number over here? Do you agree? What is this n into I? N into I is this number that is coming up, right? So first of all, this answer n into I will be evaluated. So let's say the value of I is 5, okay? And the value of n is 7. So what will be n into I? N into I will be 35, right? 35 here, okay? Then plus is here. Now I will be performing additions. Right? So if you look very carefully, this n is an integer, okay? And this is a string. So what will happen, guys? Typecasting will happen, and this n will be converted to string. So what is the value of n? 7. So you will have a 7 as a string plus x into will happen, right? So you will get this string 7x, okay? 7, see 7 space x space, see 7 space x space. So this string is ready. Then I add I, again, string plus integer. This I will get converted to a string. So what is the value of I? 5. So 5 will be converted to a string and it will be concatenated. See, okay. Then again I add a string, space equals space. See, space equals space. So this string was added. And then to this entire string, I will add 35. So 35 will be converted to a string and again concatenation will happen. So this entire thing is now printed as a string to you. This is one entire string. Okay. Concatenation means, placing it one after the other. Okay. Is this making sense to everyone? How many of you are clear with what is happening? Now, can you guys also print the multiplication table? Or let's say if somebody wants to print something else, can you do it? Okay. So I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay, it's pretty basic. And in our question, I have taken till 12, right? If you want to do till 10, you can do it, right? I have taken till 12. If you want, you can do till 10 also. That is also fine. Okay, cool. Why we putting is equal to in inverted comma? Okay. Can anybody tell me why is this equal to in inverted quotes, double quotes? This is a string, right? Okay. Okay, cool. So let's move further. So I think we have covered the first two questions. Line number 14. Line number 14 is nothing, right? I want to print the multiplication table of n from 1 till 12. Okay. So 1s are, 2s are, 3s are, 4s are, 5s are till 12s are. That is why I have moved I from 1 till 12. Okay. Cool. N into I is a string or an integer. Okay, good question. So when you do n into I, it is evaluated like a string. Okay. But later when you are doing an addition, then it is converted into a string. Okay. Then it is converted into string. Cool. So let's move further. I think otherwise the questions never stop. See, I has been typecasted into string, right? But still, this is like a copy. Okay. You are just adding the value of I. I is still an integer only, right? This typecasting is just happening for this statement, right? At the end of the day, I is only an integer only. Okay. So yes, you can do I plus plus, no issues. Okay. Achha, can I use n into I without bracket? I would say let's try to see. So no problem, right? That is what I was telling. That you can use without brackets, but I would be very specific and always put brackets, right? Okay, cool. Acha guys, can anybody tell me when I did not put a bracket, then also I did not have an issue? Why? Why? BODMAS, right? What is the first operator? This multiplication has more precedence, right? So always n into I was evaluated. But to be double sure, I can always put a brackets, right? Because that is in my hands. Okay, cool. 7 we have given as user input, if you see here, right? Okay. So let's move further. Let's move further. Where are we? So we have done with the first two questions, right? And I hope this might have helped you to, recollect loops and try to understand loops in a better manner. Okay, cool. So no, you cannot write single quotes, right? You can concatenate strings. So we don't write single quotes there. Okay, cool. So now let us try to understand two important keywords, which is break and continue. Okay, let's try to understand two very important keywords that are associated with loops, which is break and continue. Okay, so let me take an example to help you guys understand the difference between a break and a continue. Okay, now both of these, break and continue, right? When we talk of break or we talk of continue, right? Both of these keywords are associated with loops. Okay, both of these keywords are associated with loops. Others, can you clear my doubt? I'm getting index out of bounds here. Okay, so I would refrain from using index out of bounds in the class at this moment because we haven't taught about the arrays till now. Okay, so I will expect that in class we deal with only those questions which we have done till now. Otherwise, there are many people who don't know arrays till now. So once we do, yeah, it's happening because you're trying to access an index that is outside your array. Okay, so that is why we'll have to check it out. Okay, cool. Yes, yes. Any other issues? Mukul, what happened? Which case also? Yes, Sanket. Yes, I will tell that also. Okay. Switch case also involves break. We'll tell that. Okay. Cool. So let's move ahead, right? Table 12 तक क्यों चलाया आपने? अरे इसका कोई ऐसा reason नहीं है. If you want to run till 10, you can run till 10. If you want to run till 20, you can do till that. बचपन में मैंने 12 तक पढ़ा था तो I did till 12. Okay. Cool. So typecasting में n क्यों नहीं print हो रहा? I think the questions that we are getting are more fundamental, right? If you wanted to print n as it is, n, then you would have to write a string n, right? If you write just n, then it is the variable, right? And whatever is the value of n, that will be taken. Okay. Cool. Cool. I'll try to focus on the class. Other questions I'll try to take up a little bit later. Okay. Why do you want to use a string in n? If I do a string in n like this, then n will be printed, right? I want to print the value of n, which is 7. Okay. Cool. Meeting on Zoom app was well. We can't join now from mobile properly. So try to come with on laptop then maybe. Okay. Cool. Dinesh, I'll try to take your question a little bit later. I don't really understand what you're trying to say. So maybe I'll talk to you for this. Okay. Cool. Okay. So let's try to understand break and continue. Okay. These two keywords are basically associated with loops, right? So whenever we talk about loops, you have a break and a continue keyword also coming into picture. Okay. Explain return also. When we do functions, we will do return also, right? Please don't rush through things. I think we are all going outside topics and diverting. That's not at all advisable. Okay. So let me take an example and then I will try to tell you what a break and a continue does. So let's say I'm writing a loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Okay. And let's say I do here something like if I is equal to 2, I write a statement like break. Okay. So what does break actually do? Break makes you come outside the for loop. The moment you hit a break statement, right? The moment you hit a break statement, it basically makes you come outside the loop. Okay. So think of it like break is like a jailbreak. Immediately you break and you come outside the loop. Okay. So break is always associated with a loop. And whenever you hit the break statement, you will just come outside the loop. Okay. So let's say, if on first line I have SOP I, can you tell me the output? Can you tell me the output of this code? Can you tell me the output of this code? What all will be printed? Okay, can I say 0, 1, and 2 will be printed? See, first of all, the value of I will be 0, print the value of 0, and the if condition is not true. Then the value of I will become 1. 1 is less than 5. Yes, you enter, you print the value of I, which is 1. Okay. Then the value of I will get incremented. I will become 2. 2 is less than 5. Yes, I enter inside. I print the value of I, which is 2. So 0, 1, and 2 is printed. Now I check the condition. Is I equal to 2? Yes, I is equal to 2. So I will hit the break statement. And as soon as I hit the break statement, I will come outside the for loop. Okay. So this loop will only run for I equal to 0, 1, and 2. Because when the value of I is 2, I will go inside this if conditional block and I will hit the break statement, and this break statement will make me come outside my for loop. Okay. Do we need to put a break inside this? No, not required, right? You can try, you can also not put a break inside the curly braces if you want, right? Okay. So yeah, break in if possible. See, whenever you are using a break now, break will associate itself with the nearest loop. Break always associates itself with its nearest loop. Okay. So when I write a break here, break sees, boss, what is the nearest loop? The nearest loop is this for loop. So this break will make me come outside this for loop. Okay. Cool. So what is break? The moment you hit a break, you will come out of the nearest for loop with which that break is associated. Okay. So I will tell what happens in case of nested loops a little bit later, but that is what is the basic idea of break. कि जैसे ही आपने break hit किया, आपका loop terminate हो गया. You just come outside the loop. That's it. Okay. No, it matters how many loops are there. It matters. I will talk about it, right? But yeah. If SOP is after break, 2 will not be printed. Correct. Okay. What is the meaning of the nearest loop? Okay. So think of it like this. For now, let's say you have a loop. Okay. And there is a break here. Okay. Let's say you have another loop. And you have another break here, right? So this break is associated with this loop. This break is associated with this loop. Okay. See, Dinesh, only 0 and 1 will be printed is wrong because I have a print before an if. Okay. So for I equal to 2 also, first of all, I will be printed, which is 2. And then I check and then I break, right? So 0, 1, and 2 all will be printed. Okay. Then what is continue? Break is very simple, right? So somebody was asking about a nested loop, right? Let's say you have a for loop, right? And inside this for loop, you have another for loop. Okay, let's take off a condition like this. Inside this for loop, you have another for loop. And if I have a break written here, can you tell me with which for loop this break will get associated? With which for loop this break gets associated? The outer one or the inner one? The inner one, right? Because what did I tell you? Break gets associated with its nearest for loop. So this for loop is the nearest. Okay. So break associated with a loop always associates itself with the nearest loop. And as soon as you hit the break statement, you just come outside that loop. As simple as that. Break makes you break outside the loop. It's like a jailbreak. Okay. Then what is continue, right? What is continue? So think of it like this. For I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Okay. And again, I'm trying to write the same code. If I equal to 2, okay. This time I am telling, let's say, continue. Okay. And here I am doing an SOP I later. Okay. Now what happens? What happens? See, first of all, the value of I will be 0. Okay. So 0 will be printed. That's it. Right. Then the value of I will become 1 and the value 1 will also be printed. Then the value of I becomes 2. Now what happens? Try to understand. If I equal to 2, yes, the value of I is equal to 2. So I will go inside this if block and the statement that I hit is continue. Now what does continue tell? Continue मेरे को बोलता है boss, forget whatever lines of code are written below. The moment you hit a continue, you just go to the next iteration of the loop. Listen to me very carefully. The moment you hit a continue keyword, you go to the next iteration of the loop. You don't break outside the loop. Okay. You just simply go to the next iteration of the loop. So the moment I hit a continue, I don't care what all lines of code are in this for loop, right? I will simply go from here to the next iteration. So I plus plus will happen and the value of I will now become 3. 3 less than 5, I enter inside, the value of I will be printed as 3. Then the value of I will become 4 and then the loop is now over. Is everyone making sense of what is happening? 2 will not be printed. Okay. If I had done a break here, if I had written a break instead of a continue, then do you know what will happen? Only 0 and 1 will be printed. Okay. Only 0 and 1 will be printed if we had a break. Okay. So what did continue do? What is the meaning of continue? The meaning of continue is the moment you hit a continue keyword, right? You will simply go to the next iteration of the for loop, or you will go to the next iteration of the loop. Okay. You don't care what all statements are below. I don't care. The moment you hit a continue, you simply go, you skip all other lines of code and you go to the next iteration of the loop. Okay. So from here, you will simply go here to I plus plus. Okay. And the next iteration will run for I equal to 3. That's it. Okay. And break क्या बोलता है? Break बोलता है, boss, simply break outside the loop. Don't go to the next iteration. Simply come outside the loop itself. Finish the entire loop. Right. Is this making sense, guys? Is the difference between a break and continue clear to everyone? What is break doing? Break is making you come outside the loop entirely. And what is continue doing? Continue is telling you, boss, skip all the lines of code that are written. Just simply go to the next iteration of the loop. That's it. As simple as this. Okay. Why skip 2? See what will happen. The value, when the value of I is equal to 2, when the value of I is equal to 2, what will happen? This condition evaluates to be true. You enter inside the if block and you hit a continue keyword. The moment I hit a continue, from here, I will go to the next iteration of the for loop. I will never come to this line SOP I when the value of I is 2. Because when the value of I is 2, this condition evaluates to be true and I will hit the continue keyword. And continue मेरे को क्या बोलेगा? भूल जाओ जो भी lines नीचे है. Just go to the next iteration of the loop. So I will go from here to a I plus plus. The value of I will become 3 and then again I will go to the condition check. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? So let's just quickly, try to code these two. Can you use a break and a continue? Why not? Why not? Definitely you can. Okay. So let's say if I want to write something like this. Okay. So for let's say int I is equal to continue use kaha hota hai? Okay, good. I'll tell. Okay. For int I is equal to let's say 1. Okay. I less than 5, I plus plus. What if I equal to 6? Then this loop will not even run, right? Okay. So just for your clarity and understanding, right? So let's say if I is equal to 3, I hit a continue. Okay. Just demonstrating the usage, right? Otherwise, println I am here. Okay. See, continue is also associated with its nearest loop, right? Continue is also associated with its nearest loop. So this continue gets associated with this loop. Okay. Now let's try to see what is happening, right? So I am here will be printed for all values of I except 3. You can verify. I am here 0, I am here 1, I am here 2, I am here 4. Because when the value of I was equal to 3, you entered this block and at line number 16, you had a continue keyword. So it went to the next iteration of the for loop. Now, instead of this, if you use a break, right, then what will happen? Only for 0 and 1, the output will come. The moment the value of I will become 3, it will break and the loop will no longer run. So only I am here 0, I am here 1, I am here 2. Is the working clear to everyone? Where do we use this? Why do we use this? We will see as we solve questions, right? But is the theoretical idea between break and continue clear to everyone? What if SOP is above if? Then it will be printed for 3 also. As simple as that, right? Okay, cool. Past statement we don't need at this point of time. Can you explain continue? See, continue is nothing. Continue is basically telling you, the boss, skip whatever other lines are there. Just move to the next iteration of the loop. Okay. So think of it like this. Think of it like this. If I'm writing code like this, do you ever think you will reach these lines? Do you ever think you will reach these lines? Never, never. What have I done? I have printed you and then I am continuing, right? So the moment I write a continue, it will just skip whatever lines of code are there, right? And it will go to the next iteration. So only you will be printed for, 5 times or 5 times, right? So see, this time see what it has done, right? Now see, our compiler is also very intelligent, right? So it has complained to me, boss, line number 17 is unreachable. So your code logic is flawed. You have written line number 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, but those lines are never reachable. So such a code is also not acceptable. Okay. But are you getting the idea? If somebody would have told you, okay, this is not problem in a compiler, then it just prints you for 5 times because all these lines of code are never reachable. Okay. Cool. If SOP written before, continue. Try to do experiment, guys. Try to write yourselves and see. Okay. Cool. So let's move further. So we have explained the example. Break and continue has been done, right? Okay. So I would first of all think, let's discuss point number 5 and 6 first, and then we can come to point number 4. Okay. So let's also talk about nested loops for the time being, and then we'll discuss some pattern printing with nested loops, and then we can talk about prime numbers. Okay. Return statement abhi nahi, return is associated with functions. Okay. Cool. So Amir, if you want to again repeat the thing, I would suggest एक बार video देख लेना. Okay, just have a look at the recording because I think I have spent sufficient time here. Okay. Okay. Cool. So let's move ahead. And any other doubts you guys are having, right? First of all, I will expect all of you to write it in a compiler and proceed further. Okay. And if you are not clear with a compiler, what is happening, you are not able to explain, then you can ask me and I'll be happy to help you, right? But your initial doubts, please try to write it on a compiler and try to see what is happening. Okay, cool. Exit statement we'll see later, okay? So now let's try to talk about nesting of loops. Okay, 1 hour we have discussed questions. Now let's actually go to some theory. Nesting of loops, and we'll do pattern printing as a practice for this. Okay. So what is nesting of loops, right? See, basically, when we were talking about conditionals also, right? We saw that inside an if block, you can put another if block. Okay. Inside this if, you can put another if. There is no level to the nesting that you can achieve, right? You can nest conditionals one inside the other. Similarly, I can also perform a nesting of loops. Now, what do I mean when I say nesting of loops? Inside a for loop, you can have another for loop. Inside a for loop, you can have another while loop. Inside a while loop, you can have a for loop, and vice versa, right? So for do while, okay, for do while loops, generally we see that, nesting is not there. And whenever you have to deal with nesting, 99.99% of the times, you will be, dealing with for and while loops only. So let me take an example to help you guys with how does a nesting of loop actually look like and how does it actually work, right? What is the flow of execution when we nest the loops? Okay. So I am basically nesting for loops, right? So within one for loop, I will be writing another for loop. Okay. So for int I is equal to, let's say, 0. Okay. I less than 5, I plus plus. This is my one for loop, outer for loop. Okay. Now what I will do is I write an inner for loop. I write an inner for loop. इस for loop के अंदर में I am writing another for loop. Let's say I write this for loop like this. For int j is equal to, let's say, 0. Okay. J less than 3. Okay. J plus plus. Okay. And then inside this for loop, I am basically, here I do an SOP I. Okay. Here I do an SOP j. Okay. Cool. Now, what have I actually done, right? If you see, this is nesting of two for loops, right? See, inside this for loop, you have another for loop, right? So this is nesting of two for loops. Now, how does it actually work? How does it actually work? Okay. So can anybody tell me what will be the output that you will be seeing? Anybody? Can anybody tell me the output? What are we expecting here? Okay, so see, if you want to trace the output, right, there is no hard and fast rocket science rule here, right? It's as simple as you have to just run these two loops, right? So let's see how the running actually happens. So first of all, I come here and my outer for loop starts executing. So first of all, the value of I will be equal to 0 and 0 is less than 5. So I will enter inside this for loop and then I print SOP I. So the value of I will be printed, which is 0. Okay. The value of I is printed, which is 0. Next, I come to this line. And what is this line? This is another for loop. So now guys, try to understand, when I come to this for loop, this entire for loop will terminate. And then only I will come to, let's say if you have here another line, SOP yo. Okay. So do you understand one thing? First of all, see, try to understand, guys, right? This is the for loop that is running. So first of all, the value of I is 0. Okay. 0 is less than 5. I enter inside this loop, right? And I print the value of I, which is 0. Now what happened is the second line is another for loop. So what will happen? Now this loop will start running. For int j is equal to 0. So j has been initialized with 0. 0 less than 3. Yes, it is true. So I will enter inside and I will print the value of j, which is nothing but 0. Okay. Then from here, where will you go? Because you are in a for loop and you have finished all the lines, you will go from here to j plus plus. Okay. So the value of j will become 1 and again j will be printed, which is 1. Then the value of j will become 2 and 2 will also be printed. Okay. Then the value of j will become 3 and 3 less than 3 is false. So this for loop will now terminate. And when this for loop terminates, what is the next line that I have written after this for loop? SOP yo. So now yo will be printed. Now yo will be printed. Okay. So once yo is printed, where do I go? Can anybody tell me? Once yo is printed, where do I go back? Where do I go back? I go to I plus plus. Do you agree? Because my outer for loop, I have reached the last line of my outer for loop. So after this, I will go back again to I plus plus. Okay. Now what will happen? The value of I will become 1. 1 is less than 5. So again, I will enter inside the for loop. And what will be printed? 1 will be printed, which is the value of I. Okay. Then again, you start running this loop for int j equal to 0. So again, j will be initialized with 0. 0 is less than 3. So 0 will be printed. Then the value of j will become 1. So 1 will be printed. Then the value of j will become 2. 2 will be printed. Then again, the value of j becomes 3. You terminate this loop and then you come outside this loop, which is SOP yo. So again, yo will be printed. And from here, again, I will go back to I plus plus, which is the value of I will become 2. So do you agree, guys? For every value of I, this inner for loop will run entirely. Okay. See, for every value of I, first of all, you print the value of I, then you run this inner for loop entirely, then you print yo, and then you again go and increase the value of I. This is how the flow of execution actually happens. Is this making sense to everyone? Please repeat. Yes, sure. So let's try to repeat this once again. For int I is equal to 0, I less than, let's say, 5, I plus plus, okay? And I'm writing here for int j is equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus, okay? Let's say I am just, doing here. Let's say for your understanding, I'm doing SOP I here outside this and SOP j here so that you all are able to understand the values, right? So what will happen? First of all, this for loop starts running, right? This for loop will start running, okay? So the value of I is 0, 0 less than 5, you enter, you print the value of I, which is 0, okay? Then the next line is this for loop. So I will start for int j is equal to 0, 0 is less than 3, yes. So I enter and I print the value of j, which is 0. Then what will happen? From here, because I am inside this for loop, where will I go? I will go to this increment part of j plus plus. Okay. Standard workflow, right? This is how the for loop executes, right? No, the first loop is not iterated once. You will see what is happening, right? Now the value of j will become 1. Okay. 1 is less than 3. Again, you enter and you print the value of j, which is 1. Again, you go to j plus plus. The value of j will become 2. 2 less than 3. You enter and you print the value of j, which is 2. Now the value of j will become 3 and 3 less than 3 is false. So I will no longer enter inside this for loop. Okay. Now this loop has been done executing. Now, is there any other line after this loop? You come here. Is there any other line? No. That means you have executed all the lines of this outer for loop. So from here, where will you go? Can you tell me from here, where will you go? You have executed all lines. You have executed all lines of this loop. So you will go to the next iteration of the outer loop, which is I plus plus. Okay. So now the value of I will become 1. So जो पूछ रहा था कि does the outer loop run only once? No. The outer loop will run for 5 different times. From I equal to 0 till I equal to 4. So now the value of I will become 1. I enter inside. I print the value of I, which is 1. And then again this inner loop runs for j equal to 0 till 2, and the values of j will be printed 0, 1, 2. Okay. Then what will happen? Again, I have done executing this loop. I come outside. Again, I go to the I plus plus. Okay. So now the value of I will become 2. So you will print the value of I, which is 2. And then again, this inner for loop will starts running, which will print 0, 1, 2 as the value of j. Then the value of I will become 3. Okay. Then again, the inner loop will print 0, 1, 2. Then the value of I will become 4. I will print the value of I, which is 4. And the inner loop will run, which will print the value of j as 0, 1, 2. Then the value of I will become 5. 5 less than 5 is false. So I will no longer enter into this loop. And when I don't enter into this loop, I come outside here. No lines of code written. Done. Is this making sense? Is it making sense? How it is running, right? Usage of this. Okay. Nested loops, we will find many uses coming up, right? Many uses. अभी हम लोग जो pattern printing करेंगे ना, the pattern printing that we will be looking at, they will highly involve nested loops. You will see practical usage of these loops there. Okay. So, but just before moving on, I'll just write these loops here. Yeah, practical. Definitely. Nested loops you are going to use throughout module 1, right? When you talk of arrays also, when you talk of this also, right? Pattern printing, all these involve nested loops, right? So let's just try to print the output once so that we all are clear. I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Okay. So let me make it a little bit more interesting for you all. Okay. So first of all, I print the value of I to make you guys understand what is happening, right? Then let's say I am nesting another, I'm writing another loop for int j is equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. Okay. Now what it will do? It will print the value of j. Okay. So println, let's say I'm printing like this. Okay. And once I've printed all this, let's say I'm printing also a u at the end. Okay. And I am here, I'm printing code done. Okay. Now let's try to understand how this works, right? So my assumption is, first of all, the value of I will be, 0. And then for I equal to 0, this inner loop will run and print the values of j. Then u will be printed. Then the value of I will become 2. Okay. Then again, for I equal to 2, this again loop will run entirely. The values of j will be printed. Then you will be printing u, and then the value of I will become 3. And this will continue till the value of I becomes 4. Okay. And after you have printed all these things for all the values of I, this outer loop will terminate and I will print code done. Let us try to run this and see. Okay, let's see. So first of all, the value of I is 0. And for I equal to 0, what is happening? See, this inner for loop has executed entirely. So j will go from 0, 1, 2. Okay. Now, once the inner for loop has executed, I am printing u. After u, I go to the next iteration of the for loop I plus plus, right? So now the value of I will become 1, and you will see that for I equal to 1, again, j goes from 0 till 2. Okay, maybe move it a little bit down. See, for I equal to 1, again, j will go with 0, 1 and 2, and then I will print u. Then the value of I will become 2. Okay, and then again, j will go from 0, 1, 2. Okay, then you are printing u. Then the value of I will become 3. And for I equal to 3, again, j will take values from 0, 1 and 2. Then the value of I will become 4. And again, j will take the values of 0, 1 and 2. And then you print u. And then when you go back to I plus plus, the value of I will become 5. 5 less than 5 will be false. Okay. So you just come outside this for loop and you print code done. Is this making sense, guys? Yes, everyone clear with this? Like, you just have to understand the flow in which the nested loops run, right? So first of all, see, it is just like you are running this loop, right? But for a given value of I, what will happen? Because you have another loop, this loop will now first execute fully, and then only you can go to the next iteration of the outer loop. As simple as that. Okay. Line number 14 and 16, nothing. I'm just showing you the different values of j and I. So that is why. Okay. Cool. So yeah, if you put I here, if you print I here, then what will happen? Then nothing will happen. What will happen? Always, what is the value of I? When I will be 0, you will see I equal to 0, j equal to 0, I equal to 0, j equal to 1, I equal to 0, j equal to 2, like this. Okay. Then I ka value 1 ho jayega. So 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, like this. Okay. So that is it. But yeah, what we want to understand is how these loops are basically working. Okay. What is the basic workflow? Okay. So long story short, if I want to conclude what is happening, if you had nesting like this, okay, so what will happen? First, this line runs. Okay, if there is any line here that runs, then this for loop will run entirely. This for loop will run entirely. Then you come here. Then from here, you will go to the next iteration of the outer for loop, right? That is what happens. So similarly, let's say if I am doing something like this, I don't know. So if I'm doing, there is a for loop, okay? And inside this for loop, let's say there is a while loop, okay? So how will it run? First of all, this line, this line, this line. Then this entire while loop will run. Then you will go to outside this while loop, and then you will go to here, okay? So basically, first of all, for every iteration of the loop, the inner loop will also run fully, and then you will go to the next iteration, okay? Cool. Can you keep break and continue? Yes, you can. Okay. Okay. ठीक है, देखो कंटिन्यू ब्रेक काफी काम में लगता है, राइट? यू टेंड टू यूज ब्रेक एंड कंटिन्यू इन कंपनी आल्सो, राइट? आई यूज्ड इट जस्ट अ कपल ऑफ डेज बैक, सो दैट हैपेंस, राइट? What happens if I break in while loop? Simple. You will come outside the while loop. The funda of a break is very simple. It doesn't know whether you are using it for a for or a while loop, right? Okay. Now let's come to some pattern printing, and then you will get some more clarity about how nested loops are working, right? So let's come to some pattern printing. Can we do nesting with conditionals? Why not? Definitely you can. Okay. Definitely you can. Okay. Where we will be using it in real time. What nested loops? You will use it in a lot of, like, problems of arrays and all these things, right? Okay. When do you know when you have to use a while versus a for, right? So I think I laid down the thumb rule yesterday, but apart from that, I think it comes with practice also. When you practice some problems, you will realize that some problems are suited, better for loop. Some problems are suited better for while loop and something like this. Okay. Cool. Yes, pattern printing is asked in interviews a lot. It's asked, right? It's important. Okay. So the first pattern that we will print, right? 3 patterns we will be looking at. So the first pattern that we will print is a pattern like this. Okay. So every line will have 5 stars. Okay. Every line will have 5 stars. And how many lines you have to print? How many lines you have to print? Let's say you are taking n as input from the user. So let's say if n is equal to 3, then I want to print 3 lines and every line is containing 5 stars. Okay. If n is equal to 4, then I want to print 4 lines and every line is containing, 5 stars. Okay. Is this pattern clear to everyone? What is the pattern that I am looking at? Yes. Okay. So can anybody help me? Like, what can I do? What can I do? I have taken an input from the user, right? And I want to print a pattern like this. If n is equal to 3, you have 3 lines and every line is containing 5 stars. If n is equal to 4, then you have to print 4 lines and every line is containing 5 stars. Okay. Can anybody tell me? Okay, let us try to understand it, right? Let us try to understand it. First of all, forget about multiple lines. Okay. Let us forget about multiple lines. Let me first of all tell you, how do I print 5 stars? If I want to print 5 stars, right? If I just want to print one line, what I will do, system.out.println. I don't want to write 5 stars like this, right? This is a very crude way of writing. I don't want to print 5 stars like this. I want to print 5 stars using a loop. So let's come here. Let's come here, right? Let's come to the GDB. So guys, can you help me? I want to print 5 stars in a line using a loop. How can I do it? Can anybody give me the code for it? So I want to print 5 stars, right? So can I say a loop like this will help me for, let's say int I is equal to 1, I less than equal to 5. So this loop will be running for 5 times. And what I will do, I will do a system.out. Should I do a println or should I do a print, guys? Should I do a println or should I do a print? I should do a print, right? Because I want the 5 stars in the same line. Okay. So I am doing a system.out.print. So do you agree when I run this line, when I run this code, 5 stars will be printed in a single line for me? Do you all agree? And my cursor will be there at the same line. Do you all agree? Yes. So this is the work that I am doing for a single line, right? And how many lines? First of all, let us try to run this and see and convince ourselves that this is working fine, right? So 5 stars have been printed in a single line. That is fine. Now what I want to do, I want to extend this logic over n different lines. That is, for every line, I want to print these 5 stars. Okay. So what am I doing? Is it not something like this? Ki boss, try to understand what I'm trying to do. First of all, I will come to line number 1. And for line number 1, I will print the 5 stars. Then I come to line number 2, print the 5 stars. Then I come to line number 3, print the 5 stars. Then I come to line number 4, print the 5 stars. Okay. So if I have n lines, right? Can I say I will make a loop like this? I will make a loop like this. For int I equal to 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus. So I will tell you, boss, you are standing at line number I. So when the value of I is equal to 1, think of it like you are standing on the first line. Okay. When the value of I is equal to 2, think that you are standing on the second line. Try to understand it with example, you will be able to understand. Okay. Now, when the value of I is 1, that is I am at the first line. So what do I need to do for the first line? Can you tell me? I need to print 5 stars for the first line. And how do I print 5 stars? See, here can I say I am at the ith line? Can I say I am at the ith line? When the value of I is 1, that means I am looking at the first line. And what do I want to do for the first line? What do I want to do? I want to print 5 stars. So how do I print? I use another loop. For int j is equal to 1. Okay, let's say j less than equal to 5, j plus plus. So this loop will run for 5 times. This inner loop will run for 5 times. And what it will do? I will do system.out.print and not println. Why not println? Because if you do a println, your 5 stars will be printed in different lines and not the same line. So I will do a system.out.print star. So do you agree, guys? When this for loop is terminated, 5 stars are printed on line number 1 and my cursor is here. Do you all agree? Do you all agree? When I am here, what has happened? The 5 stars have been printed on line number I and my cursor is here. Okay. So when I go to the next iteration of the outer for loop, can I tell you I will be on the second line or I will be moving to the next line? So before moving to the next line, okay, I want to bring my cursor also down. Do you all agree? Boss, when you go to the next iteration of this outer for loop, you are at line number I plus 1. So when you print stars, that should be printed in the next line. So definitely I want to bring this cursor also down. So what should I do? Outside this for loop, can I write a line like this? System.out.println. Simple. So this will bring my cursor to the next line. Now my cursor comes to the next line. Now I go to I plus plus. So now the value of I will become 2. That is, I am standing on line number 2. And for line number 2, what I will do? Again, this for loop will run and I will print 5 stars. I will print 5 stars. And then what I will do? This loop terminates. My cursor is here. So what I will do? Again, system.out.println. So my cursor comes to the third line. Okay. Then what will happen? I plus plus happens and the value of I will become 3. So now you are at line number 3. Again, 5 stars will be printed. Then cursor moves to the next line. I ka value will become 4. Okay. And again in the fourth line, 5 stars will be printed. ऐसे करते करते the value of I will reach till n and you will successfully print n different lines with 5 stars in every line. Is this making sense? How many of you have understood what is happening here? Or how many of you are not clear with what's happening? See, think of it. If you understand how to run the loops, right? How are the loops working? Then you will understand what is happening, right? For the value of I equal to 1, the inner for loop will run. Okay, and what it will do? The inner for loop will run for 5 times and the stars will be printed. 5 stars will be printed one after the other. See what is happening. When the value of I will be 1 now, what will happen? This loop will run. This entire loop will run, right? And first of all, j equal to 1, you print a star. Then the j equal to 2, you print another star. And these stars will be printed in the same line because you are doing a system.out.print. Okay. Yes, you can think of j as a column. Okay. Then the value of j will be 3, you print another star. J equal to 4, you print another star. J equal to 5, you print another star. Okay. Then the value of j becomes 6. And 6 is not less than equal to 5. So I come outside the for loop. Okay. And I do a system.out.println. So I will move my cursor to the next line. Okay. And then I go to I plus plus. So I will become 2. So now I equal to 2. That means I am standing on the second line. See, I equal to 2. You are on the second line. Again, you will print 5 stars. Okay. Then you will bring your cursor down to the third line. And when you do I plus plus, you go to the third line. Okay. So if we do it, please show it on a compiler, definitely. So now let's try to do it in a better format. So for, let's say I have the number of lines already taken. Let's say I have 8 lines, right? So what I want to do, I want to print 5 stars in all of these 8 lines, right? So I will start from line number 1 and I will go all the way till line number n. Okay. So when I am inside this for loop, can I say my cursor is at line number I. Do you all agree? My cursor is at line number I. Now what do I want to do? I want to print 5 stars in this line. So let us print 5 stars. For int j is equal to 1, j less than equal to 5, j plus plus, right? So this loop will run for 5 times, and what I will do? I will do a system.out.print star. So all these stars will be printed one after the other in line number I. So outside this for loop, can I say I have printed contents for line number I? Can I say this? I have printed the contents for line number I. And now I have to move my cursor to the next line. So how do I move my cursor? I will do a system.out.println. So once I do a system.out.println, my cursor will move to the next line. Okay. And then what will happen? You will go to the next iteration of the outer for loop, which is I++, and the value of I will become 2. So now you can say that, yes, now your cursor is at line number 2. And then you will again print the 5 stars for line number 2. Okay. Why is system.out.println used like this? To bring your cursor to the next line. As simple as that. So yes, you can think of it like there are 8 rows and every row has 5 stars. See? Okay. What is line number 21 doing? After you have printed the 5 stars in one line, now this line number 21 is basically moving your cursor to the next line. If you don't write this, right, then you know what will happen. All the 40 stars that you want to print, right, will be printed on a single line. See? Because your cursor will never move down. Okay. You are claiming that your cursor is at line number I, but who is moving the cursor? No one. Na? After you have printed 5 stars, you should be moving your cursor to the next line. This is what that statement is doing. Moving the cursor to the next line after 5 stars have been printed in line number I. Okay. Is everyone clear with this pattern? I'll share the code with you all in a document. Okay. Is it clear to everyone? Okay. So let's go to the second, this thing. Why you don't need to move the cursor in another? Why do you want to move it in another? When you are on this line, first of all, you will be printing 5 stars, right? Print 5 stars one after the other. And then only you have to move the cursor to the next line. Okay. Cool. Now let's move to the next pattern. At least I'm planning that we finish all the pattern discussion today so that it becomes clear. Now, the second pattern that we want to discuss is a right angle triangle. Okay. So if the input is n is equal to 3, then your pattern should be like this. Okay. If n is equal to 4, my pattern should be like this. दोनों loop के difference. What difference? See, one loop is tracking your line number and the other loop is basically printing the contents of your line. As simple as that. One loop is tracking the line number. See, if you look carefully at the code that we wrote now, the outer loop was tracking the line number. I was telling me what is the line number. And the inner loop was responsible for printing the contents of that particular line. Okay. Now, do you understand the pattern? This is the pattern that we want to print. Right angle triangle. Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Okay. So whenever you get any pattern, the first thing that we have to understand is what is the pattern all about. First of all, you have to figure out the pattern in the pattern, right? So can I tell you, boss? See, n equal to 3, that means there will be 3 lines. So can I tell you one thing? Boss, in your line number 1, there is 1 star. In line number 2, there are 2 stars. In line number 3, there are 3 stars. Similarly, देखो, for n equal to 4. In line number 1, there is 1 star. In line number 2, there is 2 stars. In line number 3, there are 3 stars. In line number 4, there are 5 stars. So can I say in line number I, you have to print I stars? Can I say this? In line number I, you have to print I stars. See, when you are on line number 1, you have to print 1 star. When you are on line number 2, you have to print 2 stars. When you are on line number 3, you have to print 3 stars. When you are on line number 4, you have to print 4 stars. So can I say, when you are on line number I, you have to print I stars? And what is this star? This is not just a star, right? If you see very carefully, you have spaces also after a star. So can I say that when you are on a particular line, you have to print I times star space pattern? See, star space, star space, star space, star space. Do you agree? Star space, star space, star space. Do you all agree that in a given line, if you are on line number 4, then you will print 4 times this star space pattern. If you are on line number 3, you will print 3 times this star space pattern. If you are on line number 2, you will print 2 times the star space pattern. So if you are on line number I, you will print I times the star space pattern. Do you all agree with this? If you all agree, my job is done. So let's try to write the code for this. Pretty simple, right? Let's come here. Can anybody try to write the code? Can you guys try to write the code? For int I equal to 1, I less than equal to n. Great. And okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. So very simple, very simple. If you try to adjust the code, you will definitely be able to do. So what do I have to do? First of all, I'm hard coding it here at this point, int n equal to 5. Okay, you can take inputs from the user also. So I know that there are n lines in total, right? I have to print n lines. So let us run a loop for line. Okay, so line starts from 1 and it will go all the way till n I plus plus. Okay, so first of all, I will be at line number 1, then line number 2, then line number 3, then line number 4, then line number 5. Okay, so I am standing at, my cursor is at line number I. Okay, so now can I tell you, boss, when you are at line number I, you have to print I times the star space pattern. Okay, so let us run a loop to print I times star space pattern. So for int j is equal to 1, j less than equal to I, j plus plus. Do you all agree that this loop will run for I times? Do you agree? J equal to 1, j less than equal to I, j plus plus. Do you all agree that this loop will run for I times? Dekh lo bhai. This loop will run for I times, and what do I want to do? How? If the value of I is 1, let's take. If the value of I is 1, j equal to 1, 1 less than equal to 1, you run the loop once. Done. Then j will become 2, which is greater than 1. Similarly, let's say the value of I is 3. So first of all, j will run for a value of 1, then j will run for a value of 2, then j will run for a value of 3. Okay, and then it will not run. So this loop is running for I times. And what will I do? I will have to print star space pattern. Okay. So I times, I will print star followed by space. This pattern I will print I times. And once I have printed this pattern I times, that means my job is done for line number I. So what should I do? I should move my cursor to the next line. System.out.println. Job done. Okay. Let's try to run it and see. Does it give you a good idea of a triangle? Let's move 8 to make it a little bit bigger. See, is it looking fine? See, if you don't give a space now, I just gave a space so that it looks more neater. If you don't give a space, then your triangle will be like this. Okay. Okay. You can try to give a space to make it more neater. It depends on your pattern at the end of the day. Okay. But yeah, is it making sense, guys? What we are trying to do. The most important part for you to understand is this loop is running for I times. So when you are at a particular line I, you run the loop for I times and you print star space I times. Okay. So when you are at line number 1, star space is printed once only. When you are at line number 2, star space is printed 2 times. When you are at line number 3, star space is printed 3 times. When you are at line number 4, star space is printed 4 times. And that is what my pattern was all about. And once you have printed the contents for a particular line, you move your cursor to the next line by doing a system.out.println. Is it making sense? Please dry run. Okay. Let's take a small example of n equal to 3. Okay. And try to do a dry run. Okay. Cool. Now let's try to do a dry run for n equal to 3. Okay. So what will happen? N is equal to 3. Eh? So first of all, my this loop starts running for int I equal to 1. 1 is less than 3, right? So my value of I is 1. That is, I am on the first line. I don't know why I am not able to write properly, but yeah. So I is equal to 1. That is, I am on the first line. So what I will do? For int j equal to 1, j less than I. So my loop is like this. J equal to 1. Okay. J, j less than equal to I. And what is, okay, I'll go to the PPT. It's very irritating here. Just take a screenshot of the code or take a picture of the code. I'll do a dry run on the PPT. I'm unable to write on the screen here. Okay. Okay. So what is happening? N equal to 3. Okay. We are talking about n equal to 3. Okay. So what will happen? First of all, the value of I is 1. Okay. The value of I is 1. Okay. Now what happens? The value of I is 1. I enter inside the loop. Okay. Now what will happen? I have a loop like this. For int j is equal to 1, j less than equal to I, j plus plus. And the value of I is 1. Okay. So I start running the loop. J equal to 1. 1 is less than equal to 1, right? I ka value 1 hai na? So 1 is less than equal to 1. Yes, it is true. So I enter inside the for loop and I print star followed by a space. I am writing a B here for space so that you understand. So star followed by space I have printed and my cursor is here. Now j plus plus will happen. The value of j will become 2. 2 less than equal to 1 is false. So this loop has now terminated. This condition becomes false and this loop is done. Now I come outside this loop. What was the line here? System.out.println. That is, bring your cursor to the next line. So now my cursor will come to the next line. And then what I will do? I go to the, increment part of my outer for loop, which is I plus plus. So now my value of I will become 2. Now my value of I will become 2. Now, when my value of I becomes 2, that means, again, 2 is less than equal to 3. So I enter and then this loop will start running. For int j equal to 1, j less than equal to I, which is 2. Okay. So the value of j will be 1 and 1 is less than equal to 2. So I enter inside and I print star space. Okay. And my cursor is here. Okay. Then the value of j will increase and j will become 2. Okay. 2 less than equal to 2. Yes, it is true. I will enter and I will again print a star space. My cursor was here. So I will print one more star space here. Okay. Then the value of j will become 3. 3 is not less than equal to 2. So this time the condition evaluates to be false and I will come outside the for loop. Okay. And then I have a system.out.println. So my cursor moves to the next line. Okay. And then I do I plus plus and the value of I becomes 3. Now I am on the third line. 3 less than equal to 3. I enter inside the loop. Now for j starts from 1. 1 is less than equal to 3. Yes. So I will print a star space here. Okay. Then the value of j will become 2. 2 is less than equal to 3. Again, you will print a star space in this line. Okay. Again, the value of j will become 3. 3 less than equal to 3. Again, you print a star space here. Okay. Then the value of j will become 4. 4 less than equal to 3 is false. So now you come outside the for loop. You have a system.out.println. So cursor moves in the next line. Okay. Then you go to I plus plus. Okay. The value of I will become 4. 4 is not less than equal to 3. So my job is done. And this is the pattern that is printed. Okay. Is everyone clear with how it is working? Yes. Okay. Cool. So now let's try to take up the third pattern. Okay. Now let's try to take up the third pattern, which is the pyramid. Okay. Which is the pyramid. Why? Why my pattern starts from 2 stars, not from a single star? Look at your code. Look at your code. Okay. I wrote system dot. Why did you wrote a system.out.println again? See, even if you write a system.out.println one time extra, it won't matter a lot, right? I understand where you are coming from. After you have printed this, why are you moving your cursor to the next line? So if you don't move, that is fine. But yeah, even if you move, then that's not a problem, right? Okay. So the third pattern, and I think this will be the last question for today. So if we look at the agenda, we look at the agenda of today, I think we have been left with prime number and Armstrong numbers, which I think we can discuss tomorrow. Okay. But yeah, I think let's look at the third pattern also, so that you are at least comfortable with pattern printing and nested loops, right? Okay. Try to have a look at the recording, okay, so that I can just try to finish up the third pattern also, so that we are done with solving good patterns, right? Okay. So what is the third pattern? Please repeat what part. Recording not available. No, it will be made available. I think some work must be going on. That's why you didn't have access to it. Okay. Just give me 1 second. One last pattern. Let's check out. Okay. I can repeat it once again tomorrow if you want. But what I will want you guys to do, before I repeat, right? Can you try to dry run the code of pattern printing once again, which we have done in the class today, and then try to understand what is actually happening. Because if you try to do a dry run, things become clear a lot. Okay. So when you do a dry run yourself, it will like become, clear a lot. Okay. The last pattern that we'll be looking at today is, let's say n is equal to 3, right? Dry run means you just take a value of n and you just run over your code. What is happening, what is getting printed, right? So for n equal to 3, I have to print a structure like this. Think of it like this is like a pyramid. Okay. This is like a pyramid. Okay. And for n equal to 4, you need to print something like this. Is the pattern making sense to everyone? Second one also you'll understand. Try to do a dry run once, right? And if you are unable to understand after dry run, let me know. I'll help you. Is the pattern clear to everyone? Okay. So yeah. Are you telling like to solve problems in the class like we are doing, Mohini, or are you telling that give some more homework questions according to this, or okay, so you want to solve more problems in the class, right? I think, yeah, now the topics are coming where we can learn a lot through problem solving. And that is why I definitely, took this way of problem solving and, making you guys learn via problem solving only. Okay. So definitely, yes. And yeah, now you have a lot of assignments also to do, right? I shared that link with you yesterday, which had 14 to 15 questions in that, right? Basic questions. You can try that. You can try from assignments the loop questions that are there. Right now you are good to go to solve all of them, right? So now let us first of all try to analyze the pattern. If we analyze the pattern now, then this question will be kind of simple. Yeah, I'll share the link once again. Okay, I'll share the link today as well. It's there on Discord in the announcement section if you have a look, right? I think Lakshay has shared that. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, arrays is a very major topic, so we'll be starting on it from tomorrow. Don't worry. Okay. So can we identify the pattern here? Can you guys help me identifying? So I don't know if it helps, but my screen is something like this. Okay, just to understand. See, can I tell you one thing? Line number I has I times star space pattern, similar to the previous one. Do you agree? पहले मैं देखता हूँ. My line number 1 is containing 1 star. Line number 2 is containing 2 stars. Line number 3 is containing 3 stars. Line number 4 is containing 4 stars. Actually, what is happening? Can I say in line number 1, there is 1 star space pattern? In line number 2, you have 2 star space pattern. In line number 3, you have 3 star space pattern. In line number 4, you have 4 star space pattern. Can I say this? Can I say this? Can I say this? That's boss, in line number I, you have I times star space pattern. Do you all agree with this? First agree with this. In line number I, you have I times star space pattern. Correct? Now, but this time the line is not just consisting of star space. There are some spaces also. See, if I write spaces here very deliberately, 1, do you agree? Do you agree? This is how your spaces are looking like, right? So can I say that, boss, in line number 4, you had 0 space? Do you agree? In line number 4, you have 0 space. Okay. In line number 3, you have 1 space. In line number 2, you have 2 spaces. In line number 1, you have 3 spaces. So can I say in line number I, you have n minus I spaces? Do you all agree with me? In line number I, you have n minus I spaces followed by I times star space pattern. Do you all agree? That is the pattern. Dekh lo. For line number 1, I have 4 minus 1, that is 3 spaces and 1 star space pattern. For line number 2, I have 2 spaces and 2 star space pattern. For line number 3, I have 4 minus 3, that is 1 space, and I have 3 times star space pattern. For line number 4, I have 4 minus 4, that is 0 spaces and 4 times star space pattern. So do you agree that on line number I, first of all, you will have n minus I spaces, and then you will have I times star space pattern. This is the pattern that we are looking at. Do you all agree with this? Do you all agree with the pattern? What is happening in the ith line? If you see very carefully, in the ith line, you have n minus I spaces. First of all, you have n minus I spaces. And then you have I times the star space pattern. This is what is the contents of a particular line. So once I know the contents of a particular line, I know how do I do my job, right? So let's quickly go to the online GDB compiler and try to write the code for this pattern. We have 4-5 minutes left. Let's quickly do it. Yeah. There are spaces between the stars, right? If you see, there are spaces between stars, right? Otherwise, if you group all the stars together, then it won't look very good. So yeah, you have to put spaces between, right? Okay. So let's quickly do it. Right. So first of all, let's take int n is equal to, let's say, 5. Okay. Now I have to print 5 lines. So I know that there will be a loop running from 1 till 5. Okay. So first of all, the value of I will be 1. That means I am on line number 1, then line number 2, then line number 3, then line number 4, then line number 5. Okay. So that means my cursor is on line number I. Agreed? My cursor is on line number I. Now tell me, the blank spaces are also on the right hand side. Okay. So technically, you can think yes. Technically, you can. But you don't need it. You don't need it on the right hand side. Even if you don't, see, you put spaces here or you don't put, right? Nobody will know whether you have printed or not printed spaces, right? So I'll try to ignore them, right? I just have a pattern to print. So I ignore the right hand side spaces. I don't care about them. Okay. Now let's have a look. So first of all, I am on line number I, right? So first of all, should I print n minus I spaces? Should I print n minus I spaces? Do you agree? I should print n minus I spaces first. So what do I do? Let us run a loop. For int j is equal to 1, j less than equal to n minus I, j plus plus. Do you agree that this loop will run for n minus 1 times and it will print n minus 1 spaces? Do you all agree that it has printed n minus I spaces in my line? Now, after these n minus I spaces have been printed, what do I want to print? I want to print I times the star space pattern. Okay. So again, I will write a loop for int. Let's use j itself. J is equal to 1. J less than equal to I, j plus plus. So this loop will run for I times. See guys, first of all, this loop runs and finishes, right? So I have first of all printed n minus I spaces on the line. And then I am starting from that same line itself. And I am printing I times the star space pattern. Okay. So I am printing I times stars followed by space. Now once these two for loops finish, can I say that I have written the contents of line number I? I have done printing the contents of line number I. So what do? I just move to the next line. That's it. Okay. And then you move to the next line and then you will, do the contents for the next line. Now let's try to run it and see. Yes, this for loop is for the first spaces and then this is for the star space pattern. Okay. So if you have a look, see. Okay. So if you take a higher value, let's say take 8. Yeah, you can use K also. You can use K also here. No problem. No problem. That is also fine. Let's try to run it and see. Okay. See. Let me try to know what happened. Okay. Can you explain what happened? There was a slight problem. And now see, it's fine, right? So is it making sense to everyone? No, there was a wrong thing, right? I didn't run this. So is it clear to everyone? Is the code clear to everyone? Yes? Okay. Cool, guys. So I think that should be it for today's class. Okay. And what we will do tomorrow, we will start off with arrays. Why we are not using I instead of J? You cannot use, right? If you have declared a variable once now, then inside that you cannot use another time int I. It will error out, right? It will error out. So you have this one loop already containing I, right? So if you are writing nested loops, then you cannot use the same variable I. Okay. This variable I is visible inside this entire block. Okay. Line 18 and line 20. What is line 18? Line 18 is nothing, right? Line 18 is you are printing spaces, right? So when this loop runs for n minus I times, n minus I spaces will be printed. Every time this loop runs, you print a space. So this loop will run for n minus I times and n minus I spaces will be printed. What is line number 20? Line number 20 is nothing, right? See, after you have printed the spaces, I want to print star space also. Okay. And how many times I print a star space? I print I times because I am on line number I. Okay. So because I am on line number I want to print this I times. So this loop runs for k equal to 1, k less than equal to I, k plus plus. That means this loop will start with a value 1 and go up till I. That is, this loop run for I times. So I times the star space pattern will be printed. Okay. And after that is done, you just do a system.out.println and you move to the next line. What about Armstrong and Prime modified, right? Okay. So now guys, yeah, I'll share the link with you later. Okay. And yeah, you can just DM me all your concerns. I have a meeting at 10 o'clock, so I'll have to drop off. So yeah, how many of you are clear with today's class, with at least what is happening and where are nested loops finding the application? Yes. Okay. So yeah, guys, try to do a dry run once on this on your own. Okay. And if you are unable to understand, I will repeat it once tomorrow itself. Okay. And what will be the idea for tomorrow is we will be, introducing arrays. Okay. And we'll try to take up the couple of questions of loops that we couldn't do today. Okay. Can you use J again instead of K? Yes, you can use. Yes, you can use. Right. Because see, now this time why you can use J again? Because this loop and this loop are at the same level. When two loops are on the same level, you can use the same variable again. Okay. But yeah, if you have a for int I here, then inside the nested level, you cannot use another I. Okay. No, it's not covering the right side spaces. Okay. It's covering the center spaces, the spaces in between the stars. Okay. No, you cannot use I in the inner loop. More discussion on this when we discuss about scope. Okay. Okay. Cool, guys. N minus I not understand. If you have a look at the number of spaces that you have, right? एक बारी pattern banana and see how many spaces you have in every line. You will get an idea what N minus I is doing. Okay. If still you have problems, we'll discuss it tomorrow also. Okay. Cool, guys. So let's meet tomorrow and we'll solve some more problems tomorrow. Okay. Chalo, guys. Good night. Bye-bye. And yeah, I'll share the document with you all with the codes. And I'll also share the practice link of that site which I shared yesterday also. Okay. Chalo, guys. Good night.